influence in autocratic, democratic, and laissez-faire organizations show that the most effective organizations have teams where everyone feels they have influence. So accountability is a powerful move in an organization because when everybody feels like they have influence and as on the team, then it builds this spirit, it builds this culture, it builds this environment where everybody's working hard, everybody's maximizing, everybody's bringing their own strengths onto the team. They're bringing their strengths onto the team, and it causes the whole team to flourish, right? It causes the whole team to flourish. It's just like the basketball playoffs. You got Boston, who's got these superstars that went down, right? They got the superstars went down. Kyrie Irving went down. Gordon Hayward went down. But then what it did was it strengthened the culture of the team. Now people were like, hey, we all have to step in. We all have to step up. So their top stars went down, but it caused the team to get stronger. Because everybody is pulling weight. Nobody's looking for Kyrie to take over. They're saying, no, we got to do this together. And you know, teamwork, my brother always says, teamwork makes the dream work. Teamwork makes the dream work. So when everybody's accountable, it causes greatness and everybody to start flourishing and coming out. And so it says here, absolutely, it's always about the team. When people feel like their voice is heard, their investment in their work increases far more than when they're being told what to do and how exactly to do it. And so they give 8 keys. I'm not going to go through all 8, but they talked about 8 keys, 8 things that they research that you know, great organizations have with leaders within leadership. And they talked about honesty and integrity. When your boss asks a company in a company meeting, how's the project coming? So saying accountability, you got to be willing to be honest and integral when someone asks a question about the results or how's this going. And then it says trust. We did some research on it. Now, I talked about trust yesterday. This really hit home. Trust. I talked about how accountability is what builds trust, right? Accountability builds trust. We did some research on a set of leaders who were not trusted and found their employees had the following issues. So the employees, based on their assessment of the leader, they didn't trust the leader. So they asked those employees what were some things that were missing. Why didn't you trust your boss? And this is what they said. I'm not confident that my efforts will be rewarded. I suspect the leader may take advantage of me. And then it says, I constantly question the leader's motives. Ooh-wee. See, remember, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And whenever a leader is not accountable to the people who are following them, then your motives are unknown. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And now everybody's like on pins and needles. Everybody's on pins and needles because you don't know the motives, because there's no accountability. There's no checks and balances. Nobody can check you. Nobody can check you. Nobody can say that's wrong. You shouldn't do that. And then you follow suit. Nobody, you know, and that's something that is so dangerous when you have someone with so much power that, remember, Lord Acton, the British historian, he said absolute power corrupts absolutely. And he says, I've noticed that the more power a person has, the less morality, the sense of morality they have. So if you have absolute power, your sense of morality just begins to get decreased because nobody can check you. Nobody can say you're wrong. Nobody can say, you know what, you better not do that, or you're going to be held the consequences. You're going to have to face consequences. And that's why you know you have to hold children accountable. Otherwise, they'll grow without no sense of morality. They'll grow thinking that they can do anything and there will be no consequences there. There'll be no consequences there. And then the sense of morality is totally crushed. It's crushed. And then they think they're invincible, and then that's going to be a hard fall when that happens. A hard fall is coming. It says, you constantly question the leader's motives. I am sure that they will take credit for my accomplishments. These are not factors that will build accountability. In contrast, these 3 pillars that build trust are positive relationships, knowledge, and consistency of leaders. And accountability is what keeps you consistent. It keeps you consistent. And one thing I want to share, because I have 5 minutes, accountability is a grace tool. Excuse me. I was thinking about this morning. Accountability is a grace tool. It's a tool of grace. It's not a tool of punishment. It's a tool of grace. Accountability, it makes room for you to change. Accountability makes room for you to change. It doesn't restrict you to be uncreative. It doesn't restrict you from being you. Accountability makes room for you to grow. It makes room for you to change. It makes room for you to change. This is what accountability does. What do I mean? What do I mean by that? We all know of a person who's just highly gifted. I remember I would drive past the park and this guy would be hooping at the park. Amazing skills. Skills were amazing. And guess what? He's free to just do whatever he wants with his life, go to Fairground Park and hoop and just do whatever he wants. And he has skill. And people would be like, hey, man, this dude colder than Kobe. He colder than Kobe. He like, but guess what? And you know what the truth of the matter is? Probably not. But the truth of the matter, if people are saying that, he probably could. He probably has the talent to play in the NBA. He can have the potential to be in the NBA. But he doesn't have a coach. He doesn't have an organization that holds his behavior accountable. And that right there is what strips his accountability from ever fulfilling itself. Kobe had coaches. That's accountability. Now that you can't just do whatever you want. You have to use your talents within this realm. And then the sky is your limit. But whenever we don't have accountability, our potential, that's why I say potential is crying out. Your potential is crying out for accountability. It's crying out. Your potential is crying out to be harnessed. It's crying out. Can you imagine even the greatest of the greatest, the Tom Brady's and the accountability? Can you imagine them not having a coach? Not having a coach? They will self-destruct. And whenever we don't have coaches, whenever we don't have mentors, whenever we don't have people that can hold us accountable, we can self-destruct. Why? Accountability is a grace tool. It gives you room to change. Accountability gives you room to change. It gives you room to change. It gives you room to change. It gives you room to make mistakes. Accountability gives you room to make mistakes. And then to bring those mistakes and bring them back in, right? It's not a tool to punish you. It's a tool to keep you in line. So when you make a mistake, accountability says, oh, it's okay. Yeah, you made the mistake. Now come over here. Come in line. Come in line. A coach, you strike out to the curveball and the coach says, next time, lay off that curveball. What he's doing is this. He's throwing you this ball and it's curved and it looks like it's a strike, but it's not. So when the curveball, when you see that spin, just don't swing at it. That's a coach. So he's going to perfect your mistakes. You're going to take your mistakes and that coach, he or she is going to bring your mistakes in line. And now you can say, okay, now I don't have to make those mistakes anymore. Instead of if you're all by yourself and nobody can hold you accountable, you're going to continue walking in those same error. Accountability is the greatest protector of your purity. Accountability is the greatest protector of your purity. Most people have pure intentions. Most people have good intentions. Now, I didn't say all. Most people have good intentions. But you know what? Accountability is what protects your pure intentions. Why? Because we all have weaknesses. And whenever you don't have accountability, you will be isolated to your weakness. Accountability is the greatest weapon against isolation. Accountability is the greatest weapon against isolation. And most of the times when we're isolated to our weaknesses. That's why we have to be accountable to people. We have to be accountable to somebody who cares. Accountability is an awesome weapon. It's an awesome weapon. Think of somebody who has an addiction and they don't have anybody to be accountable to. So now you're isolated to your weakness instead of saying, hey, look, man, hey, bro, I need help, man. I got that urge. I want to go drink. All right, well, instead of going to drink, you come with me. We're going to the gym. Are we going to hoop? We're going to go hoop. Or let's go to the driving range. Let's go to the batting cage. Let's do something. Accountability will protect your purity. It will protect you. Accountability will fight your weaknesses. Accountability will fight against your weaknesses. And then you go to that gym or with that friend, and then you feel free. You're like, ooh, I escaped. And then you continue that process. Absolutely. Isolation is dangerous. The last thing I'm going to share. Accountability is the greatest tool for change. Accountability assures that we will not continue in error. Accountability is the greatest insurance policy for greatness. It's the greatest insurance policy for your destiny. Accountability is the greatest one. Absolutely. Yeah, you can't have accountability without honesty. Absolutely. Absolutely, Myra. You can't have accountability without honesty. Accountability is responsibility, right? And they don't go to, they work together. Accountability and honesty, they just, they're married. Okay? They're married. They can never be divorced. They can never be divorced. Accountability and honesty can never be divorced. They can never be divorced. It's just like TD Jake said. If he says trying to deceive your coach or your mentor is like going to the doctor and never taking your clothes off. If they can't see you, they can't help you. If they can't see you, they can't heal you, right? So you have to be honest and open to the person that you're accountable to the person you're accountable to. Accountability protects your destiny. It is your insurance policy. So be accountable, be great. Be accountable, be great. Choose you. Choose you to be accountable. Find somebody to be accountable to in every vital area of your life. Every vital area of your life, find somebody who can hold you accountable. That is the essence of your greatness. You got potential for days. You have greatness. It's in you. It's all in you. And it is crying out to be accountable so it can be protected and that the mistakes can be corrected. And now you can move on to the mountaintop. All right. So y'all have an awesome day. Love you guys. God bless. Choose you. Accountability is king.